most people relapse by not leaning on other people.
Welcome to the Council of Dudes podcast. I'm your host, Vinny Brusco. I am a father, a husband, the founder of Agora Social Club, a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a certified life coach, and a facilitator of the Council of Dudes men's group. This podcast is here to help you tap into and follow your golden thread, that feeling that pulls you forward to become the best version of yourself. If you're someone who's into personal development and self-help and is looking to live a life of more alignment, then this is the podcast for you. Subscribe to the channel, click the notification button, and follow along on the journey of the show.
Hey, it's Jesse from Malochhio Lifestyle. You're checking out the Agora Council of Dudes podcast.
And here we go.
For you, I feel like I need to. I never felt. I'm singing the Bluey theme song.
Like something like Get Smart, like that. Like
I'm thinking more of like a game show.
something with horns, like well, yeah, some Herb Albert shit.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
You
Tijuana Brass.
I love a good brass band. You got great hair. I'm letting you know, you just did a thing with the headphones, and your hair came forward in a coif. My goodness.
I'll take it, my friend.
My goodness. My goodness.
You know, part of it is to not give a shit about it either, and just be like.
But you have good hair.
I guess if you have
good hair. You could do that. I have very thick, old school Ginzo hair, and it gets wavy. I'm not complaining about it.
Listen, thick hair is better than thin hair.
It stays.
When I was a teenager, I wanted thin hair.
When I was, you have thin hair though.
No, it's thick as fuck.
It's straight.
You can have straight, thick hair.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I have thick, wavy hair. I wanted like that hair.
My hair
so
actually,
badly.
My hair actually is wavy.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you blow dry it?
I don't put zero effort.
Oh, wow.
Dude, I should probably shampoo it like once a week.
It looks great.
Yeah, I don't do shit.
It looks great. I'm just gonna
Just
tell you
leave
that.
it alone. You know what I mean?
I have very, like I said, it's very. It'll be an afro. I'll have an afro.
Jufro.
Yeah, exactly. Just blown out.
Yeah, but embrace
James
it.
Caan.
Embrace it.
And maybe that's the next phase of my
Like
life.
Seth Rogen.
Just embrace the
Just
fro.
like,
Embrace the fro. I'm wearing this shirt for you
love it.
because when I came on your podcast, we went down copious amounts of rabbit holes.
I love it.
And we started talking about He-Man Masters Universe. And when I was getting ready for the pod, it's a little small, but when I was getting ready for the podcast,
good.
thank you. My daughter this morning was like, Dad, that shirt's a little small. And I was like,
Tell her, don't worry about it, kid.
It's inside joke.
Here.
Get out of here.
Go to school.
I got to take you. There's traffic. I was like, I got to wear that Masters of the Universe t-shirt.
Yeah, this shit is dope.
Thanks, man.
The toys I remember from that is like, dude, like the big deal was like my brother had Ram Man, and it was like,
Oh, yeah.
this guy would like compress and like,
Yeah.
and then he couldn't get B-Store. B-Store was like Skeletor's like sidekick.
Yeah.
And sold out everywhere.
Really?
Couldn't get it.
Was that the UPS person?
It's a guy.
Thanks for doing this.
My pleasure.
We've been talking about this for a little while, and I think that very often I throw out, hey, let's do a podcast, almost like it's a cup of coffee in my world at this point. Mm-hmm. And very often it comes to fruition, but at a time when it's supposed to, right? Like these things just happen when they're naturally supposed to. And I never mean to offend people by not having them on the podcast. I'm like, hey, let's do a podcast. But it just takes time. But I appreciate it.
I get it. Totally understand. And I appreciate that.
It's the reality to it. It's the reality of the situation that I'm in. And also, thank you for the toothbrush, which first gift as a toothbrush on the podcast. So thank you.
Lifesaver, brother.
It's a little on-the-go toothbrush.
You never know when you're going to need it.
When I first met you, we were at a networking event, and it was at, where was it? It was at a pizza. What was that?
Pulpatina.
Pulpatina, that's right. I met you at Pulpatina. It was Rob's networking event. And I was like, that guy looks cool. Like you have a vibe and an energy. Like you could be in like Peaky Blinders. You could be in like a Guy Ritchie movie. You have this energy to you that's so authentic. And we started talking, and it was like, all right, it was very like, you know, you're at a networking event, so like you gotta talk to like fucking 50 people instead of just like immersing yourself in one. And we started talking, and then as we start to speak more and get involved in more events with each other and seeing each other more, I was like, oh, this guy's got like a story, right? you've been through like the rehab system, you've been through addiction, right? And you show up in this way now that's so authentic, and your relationship with God and the way you preach that, and you're very open about that, and fitness and the importance of routine. What was that transition like for you? Because coming up through just the way we were raised and similar ages, and then to go into addiction, then like weave your way out of it.
Dude, it's been a wild journey.
It's nuts.
It's been a wild journey, you know? And, I don't know where to begin, but I would say, you start out kind of thinking life is one way, and it's not, and you kind of get bitter about it. You kind of have some resentment for it, and you start making wrong choices, and these just like, dude, you start making great choices, and they start to, like, kind of stack up. The opposite, right? You make bad choices, and they kind of start to stack up, and you start to get that book bag you're wearing gets heavy, full of like problems.
Where did you? So you said you thought life was a certain way, and then it changes. What was that shift for you?
Where was the shift? I don't know, because you think it's one way, and then you kind of find out it's not that way. So you're assuming.
Is that when you were already kind of drinking and boozing, or like before that? Like, what led you to, like, was it just like, hey, casually drinking some beers and like, 15, 16 years old, normal kind of shit, and then all of a sudden, like, it took a turn? Was it like a moment in time where you saw like, oh, this is taking a turn?
I would say the disease of alcoholism slowly creeps up on you. You don't even know it's happening. And
really?
It could take years and years, maybe even decades.
How long did it take you to realize that you were an addict?
Probably 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So for my story is I started out drinking like a lot of people, probably 13, 14 years old. I think that's a lot of people. Some people are like, what are you, crazy?
Yeah, that's the weird thing about, like, my nephew's 15, right? And great kid, none of that stuff. But it's not the norm to not be drinking. It's also not, it's like this weird kind of moment in time where it's like you can go left or you can go fucking right. And we were talking jokingly before about like 40s and stuff, but that's kind of how it starts, right? It starts with like a couple beers and some 40s in the woods, and all of a sudden it's way more than that.
So I like, to me, everyone around me, 13, 14, start drinking alcohol. It's kind of fun to try to buy beer or steal beer, however you want to get it. There's a lot of planning.
Fake IDs.
Hey,
mister, can you buy me a 6-pack? Right? Like one of those outside the store.
Yeah, maybe you pay an older kid.
Yeah.
Right? Like, everybody's kind of been through something like that. It kind of starts like that, and then I would say basically I started drinking to be social, right? So you're drinking around a lot of people, you're doing something, you're having fun, you're having a moment. Maybe somebody gets silly, maybe somebody doesn't, maybe somebody gets sick. But as time progressed, as I look back now, the part to be social and be around people became less and less important, and the part to just have drinks in my system became more important.
What were you said, like, to be social? Were you like an antisocial kid? Were you an introvert?
I don't think so. I was definitely shy.
Yeah.
I was definitely shy.
So did that like remove the mask of being shy? Did that like peel back the onion a little bit?
It was kind of my cure-all for everything. So if I was embarrassed to go to a high school dance or talk to a girl or get in a fight, right? Drinking was the answer. That was the cure-all for everything.
Yeah.
And I leaned on it, and I used it as my go-to. And what happened is I actually never really learned any skills of how to deal with anything without a substance in my body.
And now are you doing this at like 15, 16? Like, are you just, it seems normal, right?
Yeah.
But are you realizing that this, like, did you have any awareness of like, I have no emotional outlet? Yeah.
No idea.
And
nothing like kind of came clear to me until there was some sobriety in the picture.
Right. Because being a parent, it's scares the shit out of you to think that my daughter's 10 and my son is 6. I mean, they're seemingly 5 to 10 years away from being in a world where they're now exposed to alcohol and drugs and smoking some weed and all these things. And they seem like cultural norms, right? It's part of growing up, having, but at the same time, it's such a slippery slope where, 1 or 2 bad decisions with kids that are kind of seedy, and they might not be bad kids, but there's just that aura around them. It can take you down a completely different life. And as a parent, that's scary as shit.
People make mistakes, especially children, right? Because teenagers, you still have a kid's mind.
Yeah.
You make one mistake, and it could change the whole trajectory of where you end up.
Yeah.
And what's scary is, like, we didn't have, like, vape pens.
Right.
So, like, there's it could be a kid outside right now with a vape pen. You have no idea what's in it.
Right.
I was at the barber shop, and a kid
getting your amazing haircut.
A kid had a vape, and he had liquid hash in it. But dude, how do you know? How do you know what's in the vape pen? You have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, it's becoming easier and easier to kind of just... And the legality of it, too, right? Like, and I'm not against it being legal at all. It's all good. But at the same time, as as your kids and as you're growing older and you start to look back on your own life, you have an opportunity to reflect. Like, I jokingly say, I would never go back and change anything, but I'd only go back if I could bring what I know now, right? Like, I would be a totally different person on a totally different path in some areas of my life, because you have that hindsight's 2020, that awareness piece that you could say, oh, I changed this, I do that, I put more effort here, I put more effort there. And I think as a parent, our responsibility is to show up in the world. And even in the beauty of AA, which you and I have discussed this, and I've had other people who've been through AA, and I've talked to tons of them, the beauty of AA is being able to bring your own life experience into the community of people and share that with them so that they can avoid those speed bumps and those potential future triggers to bring them back to addiction.
So what's cool about AA is you have a sponsor, and when I went into it, I'm like, okay, like, this guy is going to tell me what to do, when to do, how to do it. And that may be the case, but what your sponsor really is he's just your tour guide.
So he's a coach.
He's just your tour guide. You have to make the mistakes. You have to do the wins. You have to do the losses. He can't force you to do anything. And if he did, you really wouldn't learn from it.
Right.
Would you stick? So he's just kind of like, okay, these are the 12 steps. This is how this works. This is this. This is that. And show you the ropes. And then you lean on him when you have questions or you stumble.
When did you get into AA?
Probably a year into sobriety.
What made what year did you become sober? Like, how old were you when you became sober?
I'll be 4 years sober in November.
Wow.
So when I was 46, that's August, September, or something like that.
What made you kind of say, like, this is...
like everybody, you hit your rock bottom, and everybody's bottom is different. But
right.
I hit a point where life became undealable.
Right. You couldn't manage it? Was it just that every day was just...
So what happened was the physical side effects of being alcoholic really started to kick in. Whereas, let's say for a year before that, maybe, at work I'd be a little shaky, and you could kind of hide it and,
wow.
kind of like disguise it. And like, it wasn't like nonstop. Whereas probably like 2 or 3 weeks before I went to rehab, I don't even know what's going on. It's like, I'm home, I feel okay, then I feel sick, then I get hot, then I get cold. At the same time, COVID's kind of still like going around, so maybe I have that, maybe I have the flu. I don't know what the hell's going on. And I didn't know the side effects of alcoholism. So I didn't even know the last.
Were you still drinking at this time?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
The last thing I thought was it was from alcohol. You know, everybody's alcoholic doesn't want to think it's the alcohol that's causing all these problems. It's everything else. Right?
It's the world. It's not me. It's not.
No. It's
how much were you drinking?
It's the weather. I got involved into overproofed bourbon. Like, I became obsessed with overproof bourbon.
You have a look like you would be obsessed with overproof bourbon. Like, again, like a Peaky Blinders, like you. Like it's such a cool like thing to be drinking.
You know, somebody put me onto it, and it was like that was you know, I went from, let's say, beer. I graduated to beer and wine. Then I graduated to vodka, and then from vodka I graduated to bourbon. And then from bourbon, I graduated to overproof bourbon. And let me tell you, dude,
being an overproof bourbon is just like extremely strong.
So it's, I think the phrase is cask strength or something like that.
Okay.
So like a normal whiskey or vodka is like 80 proof.
Right.
So maybe this could be anywhere between 90 and 120.
Gotcha.
And it's, dude, you feel it.
Yeah.
And you taste
like moonshine
and your body. No, it wasn't all overproof, but I would search for these rare, hard to find like bourbons. I became this bourbon nerd.
Yeah.
Like, I would go around, I would find stuff that was rare, hard to find. I would travel.
And then from the outside, it's like, oh yeah, it's just like a connoisseur.
Oh, it's a hobby. Oh,
yeah, I'm a connoisseur. I'm a bourbon connoisseur.
Yeah, but somebody who has like a collection, right? Like, they don't buy a rare bottle of bourbon and finish it in one night.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's not normal.
Right.
Like, something's wrong.
Right.
Like, if you're a collector, like, you'll have a sip here and there, and that bottle might last you, who knows, maybe 5 years. Right. But yeah, when you start buying bottles and they're rare, they're hard to find, and you're finishing them in 1-2 days by yourself, right? Something's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you build, he will come.
The point is, don't lose your dinosaur.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, how quickly that hobby or being a and again, like you said, you can mask that with just being I'm an aficionado.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you tell yourself that? Were you like, yeah, I'm just a bourbon guy, like that's all?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the thing. But like, you know, if I look back, like, if it wasn't the bourbon, it would have been vodka or beer or whatever. It was that desire to just get alcohol in my system. It really didn't matter. I just had a preference to bourbon at that time in my drinking career.
So you're drinking overproofed exotic bourbon.
Yeah.
Potentially like a bottle in a day, 2 days.
Yeah.
And then what brings you to say this has got to end?
The physical symptoms caught up with me.
Yeah.
So like, dude, I really like physically could not function at the end.
Wow.
It was just between like feeling sick, feeling okay, feeling sick, feeling okay, feeling like physically sick, like like your body felt like, I don't know how to describe it, but it felt like you had the flu.
Yeah.
And then if you had a drink, you felt okay. So now you're like, I'm fucked up. I'm in a bad spot, but the only way to actually function is to keep drinking.
Oh. So then what's your first call? What's your first move?
You know,
Because that's like you're saying, that's a really rough spot to be in, because when you're not drinking, you're physically ill. You're physically ill. Like, that's a brutal existence, right? Like when you have the flu and you feel like your bones are on like ice, you're like, your bone marrow's cold. Like, your bone marrow's cold. It's, you're hot. You're sweating. And now the only remedy to that is a drink.
Exactly.
You are in a rock and a hard place, right? Really, in the throes of addiction. But how do you can rationalize from someone on the outside looking in, like, well, it's such an easy decision. Have a drink, right? Just to take away the physical pain.
Exactly.
So what's your first move?
Well, here's a fun fact for you and for everybody listening. If you're addicted to heroin or cocaine or crack, right? If you stop those substances cold turkey, you'll be in miserable pain. You'll be miserable, but you'll survive. If you're drinking excessive amounts of alcohol like I was, and you stop cold turkey, you could get a seizure. You could potentially die.
Whoa.
So if you got a lot of alcohol in your system, you have to seek medical advice.
So did you go to like a doctor?
Yeah, so dude, it was a journey. So I went to this rehab, and I waited like forever to get in, and I'm in like the waiting room and all this stuff. And I guess I got this young doctor, and he analyzed me. And apparently he didn't know what was going on. He tried his best, you know what I mean? But he was like, dude, you're fine. You don't need rehab. He's like, you just need to go to the doctor and get these pills.
Whoa.
And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, who wants to go to rehab? You know what I mean?
Right.
Nobody wants to do that shit. I'm like, awesome. He's like, go to this doctor's office down the block. I'm like, cool. I go. The doctor's like, yo, you can't take these pills by yourself. These pills are dangerous. You have to be monitored by somebody 24 hours a day in a rehab setting. You need to go back there.
Holy shit.
Yeah. He's like, you can't. He's like, no, I can't give you these pills. No one's going to give you pills and just have
See
you
you
take
later.
them.
It's not Advil.
Maybe your blood pressure goes up. Maybe it goes down. Maybe you die. Like, you need to be supervised.
So you go back.
So I go back, right? And at the time, I'm smoking cigarettes. And I check in. And I'm there like a day and a half. And I'm there just to detox, right? I'm not there like I'm there going to be there for like 5 or 7 days.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they pump you with like drugs. So like you're good. But then they kind of like wear off, and like I guess like somewhere day 2, day 3, I'm like, yo, I need to smoke cigarettes. I'm going fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm like, yo, what's the story? Like, I need to go smoke cigarettes. And they're like, you can't. I'm like, I need to. And they're like, well, you can't. So I'm like, well, I'm leaving. And they're like, all right. So I left. And then that was, let's say, rehab visit number 2, right? So I'm like, yo, I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. So I go out. I start drinking, you know. I'm trying to control it a little bit. It's still a ridiculous amount of alcohol.
Right.
It's probably like 3/4 of a bottle of bourbon a day. But it's actually less than...
Is this like a breakfast, lunch, and dinner thing?
Yeah, dude, it's like... It was like... Wake up, have a shot. Like, wake up in the middle of the night, have a shot. Yeah, like... Yeah, it's like 1 an hour, pretty much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is like my life. I'm trying to control it so it's not too much, right? But at the same time, I don't want side effects. So thank God for my sister. Shout out to my sister. She did all this research. She found this rehab in Connecticut called Mountainside, where you can go. You stay there for a while, and you can smoke cigarettes. So, the idea is not to like completely change my life. It's just to stop me from drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, some of the, just kind of trim the fat a little bit of
one thing at a time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's focus on the more important. So
that's a good point.
I got in, I went. Dude, it's the most amazing place. It was awesome.
So what's rehab like? What's your day-to-day waking up? Or do you feel like you're in a, like, what's your feeling? What's going on inside of you? Like, you're in rehab, you're kind of like, how did I get to this place? Like, here we are.
There's a lot going on. I'm trying to think back. And this place was really cool because it was broken up into 3 areas. So you lived in 3 different areas on your visit.
And where are they comprised of?
So phase 1 is your detox. Mm-hmm. So detox, you're pumped full of drugs and you're kind of out of it. You sleep a lot and, you eat what you can. You try to get nutrients in. Most people there, including myself, like, your appetite has been shot from like alcohol. So you're like slowly like getting alcohol out of your system, and you're kind of getting to meet people and know people, but you're all like kind of like fuzzy.
Like a zombie.
Yeah, so it's crazy. And then you move to
Now, is this only a drinking rehab facility?
No.
Drinking and drugs?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think most rehabs are both.
Okay.
I think most are mixed. Then you move into phase 2.
How long after phase 1 are you moving to phase 2?
I want to guess like 5 to 7 days.
Oh, so you're there for a
Something
minute.
like
Yeah.
So you're in detox mode. Then you start going into phase 2, where like you kind of start doing classes. You start kind of learning about coping skills. You start learning about like what the disease is, different types of coping programs that are offered out in the real world. You do a little bit of physical activity, you get some fresh air.
Going back to real quick, one thing you said was that you when you were drinking, you didn't know how to essentially cope with your emotions. Would you say that was one of the pillars of why you kind of fell into addiction, is like just not having the ability to deal with yourself?
I don't really know like where this came from, but all I know is drinking alcohol made everything easier.
Sure.
It made everything easy. It made you, if you were happy about something, let's add a drink to it, and now you're 10 times happier.
Right.
Right. If you're upset about something, let's drink, and now you're numbing your emotions, and you don't feel it.
Right.
Right. So it works for a while until it doesn't work.
Of course. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. But what happens, my experience, my opinion is, what happens is when you live like that, which is how I lived, you never really got to experience anything. You never got to experience a natural high. You never got to experience a natural low. You made the high higher than it really was, and you made the low not really exist. So then when these things come as a sober person, like, you're like a 14-year-old in a 40-year-old body.
Yeah.
Like you're learning everything.
That's, yeah. No, of course.
So
Yeah.
So you're learning, how to go to a social club like this, without having 10 drinks in the car before you come. You're learning, how to go on a date without drinking. You're learning.
And this is all at rehab?
No, you're
in life.
Saying your life.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah. Your rehab is just like the beginning.
Right.
It's a great start, but my experience is to just do rehab and then just try to be a regular Joe,
right,
like, would never work, ever.
So now you're in phase 2. They're teaching you kind of like about the disease. They're teaching you coping mechanisms. What are some of the coping mechanisms they're teaching you?
It's really basic stuff. The one that stands out, I'm trying to remember, is it's with like age Oh, it's called. Oh, the one that stands out is it was called MEPS.
Okay.
So it was called mental, emotional, physically, and spiritually. So you take a step back and you're like, how am I today mentally? How am I today emotionally? How am I today physically? How am I today spiritually? When you ask yourself these questions.
That's great.
Yeah.
What a great reframe of the day.
Yeah, dude. We would have to write down a goal. Oh, this is awesome because I still do this with some of my guys. Is we would write down a goal for the day, one goal.
Give me an example.
Any goal you want, any goal that's in your head. So you're at rehab. So you pick a goal for the day. So let's say somebody's goal is, my goal is to not cry today. Or somebody would say...
To cry today.
Yeah, my goal... Or,
yeah.
My goal is to stay positive.
Yeah.
Right? And then you would have to write down and share with the class one goal for the day and one thing you're grateful for today.
Journaling, essentially.
The beginning of journaling for me.
Yeah.
That was the beginning.
Yeah. So phase 2 is how long? So you said phase 1 was 5 days. How long is phase 2?
You know, I want to say like 12 days, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. And then you're
So what happens is they're starting to give you more. Phase 1 is, and this rehab particular.
Sure.
I don't know how other ones work.
But it worked for you, so.
Yeah. Phase 2, they start to give you more responsibilities. So phase 1, you don't have to do shit. Just do sleep, eat, that's it. Phase 2, now you have responsibility. Now you have to make your bed. Okay. Now you have to start doing your own laundry.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're slowly incorporating things, and now they're offering.
Were these things that you were not doing when you were drinking? Like, were you not making your bed? Not.
Nah, dude. I was completely insane. Like when I was drinking.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed with like being on top of creating the illusion that everything was fine. So like when I was always super into like prep your own meals for the week, like do your own laundry. Dude,
this is while you're
make your
drinking.
bed. Yeah, dude. None of that ever slipped. Like some people are like, I remember like some people's like hygiene slips.
Yeah.
When like they drink.
You brought me a toothbrush, so.
Yeah. But some people's hygiene slip where they're like,
sure.
They're taking less showers, they're not brushing their teeth, they're not combing their hair. Like none of that like was my situation.
Wow.
Like, I was obsessed with creating this illusion that nobody knew.
Did people know?
What was? I'm pretty sure, bro.
Yeah.
Put 2 and 2 together. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, but you had the illusion that they didn't.
Yeah, so I was like, another delusion was I was really proud that I would never drink at work. Okay, like I was very like proud of that. Like this is like, you know, you're trying to justify things and you say, oh, you know, it's not so bad. I don't drink at work. A lot of people drink at work, but I would drink a ton of alcohol before work and a ton of alcohol after work. So,
right.
Yeah.
You're
fooling yourself.
Of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Of course. So phase 2 is wrapping up, 12 days there. You move on to phase 3.
Move on to phase 3.
Okay.
And phase 3, I don't remember exactly, but basically you start adding more and more responsibilities to you. You start doing more and more classes. You start meeting with psychiatrists. If medication needs be, you start adding medication in, and they start prepping you for the real world.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So how long are you in phase 3?
Yeah, it's a long time ago, so I don't know. Let's say another 12 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're there for like a month.
Yeah, I was there for a month.
Okay.
Some people are faster. Some people
Sure.
are longer.
Right.
Yeah.
So
and it's not a cure-all. It's just the beginning.
Right, which is kind of crazy because you're going through all this just to get to baseline, just to be seemingly functional in the real world, right?
Yeah.
So you walk out of rehab, is it kind of like eye opened up to the new world? Is it like a rebirth for you? Or are you like, whoa, where'd all this stuff come from?
Well, here's the deal, right? You're in this place for a month,
right?
And you're in a bubble.
Exactly. You're in a vacuum of existence where everything's being,
So it's definitely easier to stay sober in this environment.
Of course.
Right? So you're excited to get out. You're excited to get back to like somewhat regular life. You're excited to experience new stuff. I remember getting out and feeling like I was like gone for like 2 years, because you feel off because you haven't been in the real world, and the speed, the timing, all this stuff is way different.
It's like going to Florida and then coming back to New York. All of a sudden, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
For like Europe.
Yeah, you're a little off.
Yeah.
Like you're not used to it. And it's like, I've never been to jail, but I can imagine like people who go to jail and then they come out and they're like, what is this world?
Yeah.
It was probably a much smaller version of that.
Right.
You know?
Well, anytime that you're in any form of like pocket or isolation, right, good, bad, or indifferent, you're getting a very saturated version of your life, right? You're getting a very saturated version of the experience. And then you bring that to the real world and things open up. And it's like, how do I navigate this with the things that I've taken from the saturated version and apply these things in the everyday? And that's where I'm sure most people relapse or fall back into old habits, because it's easier to get back into the comfort zone of this, outside the vacuum and not have to deal with the real world.
I would think most people relapse by not leaning on other people. Like not sharing your thoughts, not sharing what's going on with you, trying to fix everything yourself.
Yeah.
That's the importance of a program. Whatever program it is.
Right.
It's people to share what the hell is going on. You have to open up with people.
Yeah.
Because if you're keeping things secret, like, that's like alcoholic addict behavior.
Yeah.
Secretive stuff.
Yeah. And now you leave rehab, you enter the real world, you're out of the bubble, you're out of the vacuum, and what's like your first kind of order of business?
I will say this. I remember getting out and my mom and dad coming to pick me up, and super excited to see them, really, really grateful to be them, feeling great, feeling excited about life. And not even 20 minutes in the car, driving by a liquor store on the right. And I had this desire in my mind to like go see what's in there.
Wow.
Like I wonder what bourbon, what kind, if they have any rare bourbon in there. So it's like when you're in this bubble, like, and everything is safe,
yeah,
it's a lot different when you're out there. So like that was kind of taught me right there. I was like, wow, like this is not a curable thing. This is still very like strong. This desire is still strong inside me. I've been away for a month. I haven't alcohol for a month. My body is clean. My brain is clean. The fog is lifted.
And that
desire is still there.
How's that desire showing up in you? Is it like a voice in your head?
Yeah.
Is it just yeah?
Yeah, it's a voice it was a voice in my head. It was like this desire to go see what they had in there. And that's like the sickness, right? Is like it's very sneaky. It's not super obvious. It's not go in and get the voice is not telling you go in and get a bottle of
just
bourbon.
Find out what's there.
Just go look. Just go in and just walk around and just see.
Yeah.
Yeah, very sneaky.
Yeah. A lot of people that I've spoken to who have been through rehab and been through AA talk about how it does lend itself to be more of a spiritual program than it is any other thing, right? Really the AA aspect of recovery. What is your relationship with religion or spirituality at this point? Is it kind of a moot point where you raise a certain way and kind of still leaning on to those things, or is this kind of not even in your mind?
I was raised Catholic. I
Yeah.
went to Catholic grammar school. I went to Catholic high school. I was an altar boy. Being an altar boy was awesome. We'd get out of class, do funerals, do weddings, make money,
All right.
steal host,
All right.
play with what do you call the stuff?
Incense?
Do the incense. It was a blast. It was
Yeah.
awesome. It was
Yeah.
a lot better than just sitting in the pews doing nothing.
Right.
Like, we had a lot of fun doing it in
Right.
grammar school for sure. And I think like a lot of people, as you get into teenage years, you kind of drift from the religion.
Yeah.
It becomes not something of interest because there's so many things that are a lot funner.
Yeah, and you're also
Right,
not
and-
surrounding yourself by people who are preaching it. And if it is, it's probably just like your parents, right? Like you're not around like people like, hey, this is like an important part of life that you need to cultivate. It's just like,
I can't remember like any kid in grammar school or high school being like, "Oh, church is amazing." Oh,
yeah, because
God
it's not.
is great.
It's not cool. Like being into religion and Jesus and all of these wonderful things. It's not cool. Like it's not hip.
It's not rock and roll.
It's,
Yeah.
but it kind of is. Like once you start
It
to learn
is.
about it, you're like, oh, this
Think
shit is the
about
most
it.
punk
Yeah.
rock shit ever.
Yeah.
But when you're younger, and especially I think, I went to Catholic school my whole life, grammar school, high school, same thing. And I think that it was required. We had to get like the card signed by the priest, that proof that we went to church, right? And I think that, I go back and forth now. It's like, is that forcing of that hand what tends to make people turn away from it? Or is it just a natural progression of human experience that like you're raised in a certain way, you go on your own journey, and then hopefully if you're blessed enough and you're resilient enough, you could find yourself back to that original version of yourself. But I do wonder sometimes of that forced signature from the priest, gotta go to church, the guilt, the shame, the anxiety that creates, and it changes the relationship you have with God, therefore changing the relationship you have with yourself. Is that what detracts people and turns people off from going to church? I mean, it's just my own experience. I dare to say it did, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm not sure either. I would think maybe part of the plan is to do it, go away from it, and then come back to it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like,
does anyone? I'm sure there are tons of people. This is really.
Because I think if you're a kid, and if your parents or the priest aren't kind of forcing you to go, and it's up to you, you're not gonna go at all.
If you're not, I don't know. My daughter's 10 and she looks forward to going to religion. She'll ask to come to church and she wants to go. But we've also created a household dynamic where I think that we break away from the traditional aspect of going to Catholic church. And we still go to Catholic church. And I've said this before, but I think from my experience, I've extrapolated the Christianity aspect out of the Catholic Church, right? And it's not about the pomp and circumstance or the standing or the sitting or the kneeling. It's about the message of Christ, right? And for me, I think as long as you're instilling that kind of fundamental aspect and the essence of it, there's more of an inclination for people to want to go and show up and feel good versus like, God's counting every sin you made. You better not do it. He's watching you, right? Because that's what you were kind of taught, especially in Catholic school.
Big time.
Right? The guilt. It's heavy.
Yeah.
It's heavy. So you're driving home from rehab 20 minutes into the ride, and there's just this yearning, this desire to go and just inquire what's inside the liquor store. How often is that coming up from you? So your parents, would they drop you off and?
No, so we're driving back. And like I see, and I'm seeing this. We're not stopping. I'm not asking to stop. Like,
did you kind of want to?
But you have this desire.
Were you like, can we just pull over for a minute?
But it's scary.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, because.
Did it feel like another version of you?
Because when you get out of rehab, at least like the first time, you're like, I'm good. Like I can do, you don't understand what's ahead of you. You're thinking like you're pretty much cured. Like now you can just go back to life and do exactly what you were doing and you're fine.
Yeah.
And, it's they kind of try to tell you, at least me, like you have to do like more, and you don't understand. You think you're good because you want to be good, right? Like you want to bench press a million pounds,
right?
But you're not, you're not there. You're on day 30,
right?
You're not there, and
right.
people are trying to tell you you're not there, but you don't get it because you want to be at
of course.
that place,
of course,
and you don't understand the journey and how long it takes,
right?
So they're really slick. Is like they sign you up for stuff like before you leave, so like you're all set. They don't leave it up to you to be like, when you get out, find this program or whatever. They're like, listen, you got to do IOP. I believe it's intensive outpatient, and you do it a couple of times a week, and it's more coping skills, and it's other alcoholics and addicts, and you kind of bond and you start sharing, but there's definitely nothing spiritual about it.
This is still just fundamental.
It's straight scientific,
right?
And and they kind of offer you in my rehab. They kind of explain to you, like, there were some AA meetings and stuff like that you could go to, and you start to get exposed to that.
Right.
But I really didn't jive with it.
Why?
It was too much.
In what regard? Like too much? Like it was too heavy? It was just
at
not.
The time,
did you think it was like corny?
At the time, my mind thought it was corny. At the time, my mind thought people were focusing too much on the past, talking about alcoholism and how bad their life was and how this and that, and that's all I saw in it was people just
bunch of cornballs complaining.
Yeah, I didn't get it,
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted nothing to do with it.
Wow.
Yeah. So I did IOP. I had a great time doing that. I really learned from that. I really got to go there and vent and talk about things that, this happened at work today.
But it's funny. It's so in IOP, are you talking about things in the past?
It's all over the place.
So it's kind of funny how you're like, I didn't want to be around these corny people talking about things in the past, but I was in this other thing where we were talking about the past, right? Like, so there is a need for it, and you just didn't see it through the lens of AA. You just throw it through this other vehicle.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I'm doing that, and there comes a point where they're like, this program is over. Like, it's only 6-8 weeks, whatever. Like, we love you, but we need room for new people who are fresh out of rehab.
Right.
So, like, you have to find something else.
Right.
So I was kind of like butthurt.
Yeah.
I was like,
you're kicking me out.
Like, you guys, man, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
But it's, this is how it is. So I knew.
Well, you have relied on it forever.
The IOP.
Yeah.
Well, I'm doing it 3 times a week for 8 weeks, something like that.
Right.
So yeah, it's like my routine.
Right.
I'm friendly with people. We're getting to know each other. We're sharing like stuff that happened in the past, stuff that's happened like today, and like you leave when you go to something and every time you leave you feel better.
Right.
You want to do more.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's like the good addiction, right? It's like, whether it be meditating, church, jujitsu, the gym, whatever it is, like what gets you going back? It's like not the soreness. It's not like, it's the rush that you feel leaving there. And you're like, this was really hard and difficult. And some of it really wasn't fun, right? But the feeling afterwards where you feel so invigorated and alive, that's what gets you going back for more. It's interesting.
So that kind of created that buzz of that, like doing something and getting this really good feeling, and every time you do it, it's like that.
Right. Right.
So I have to go. They're like, dude, you gotta go.
Right. You gotta go.
But they're like, you gotta have a substitute. You can't do nothing.
Right.
They're like, why don't you try AA? I'm like, fine, whatever. So I go to my first AA meeting, and I hang out, chill, and at the end of it, all these people come up to me, and they're like, hey, how are you? What's your name? Blah, 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 asking me all these questions.
Is it, I see, what comes up for me is like, it's just like, like it's like
Yo,
too much.
yeah.
Like it's one of those out of body experiences. Like,
Yeah.
whoa, is this even real right now? Like that's what comes up for
People are
me.
saying things like "welcome, welcome,"
Yeah, like,
and I'm
I just joined a cult. Like,
dude,
what I just do?
At this point, like, I'm so fucking Bronxed out.
Do you think that that's what it is? Do you think we're just jaded
I'm
Bronx guys?
dude, I have so much armor. Like,
Yeah.
on from, like,
I wonder if
people.
that. I never thought of that.
I have so much armor, and I'm like, dude, I'm like, what's the angle? I'm like, where's your friend, like, trying to fucking rob me?
Right.
I'm about to get hit with a bat from behind, and you're distracted. Like,
Do you think that's just like a Bronx energy? Because I get that a lot too. Like it's gotten better over time, but I always have this, and I like to attribute it as like maybe it's just my awareness, right? Like I'm just aware of things, and sometimes those things do play out in a way that is a lot like that spider sense kind of tingles, and then all of a sudden, like if you play a long enough game, it will come to fruition. I'm like, oh, I wasn't wrong about that feeling I had 6 months ago.
Yeah,
like that was
yeah.
real. But at the same time, I like sometimes if you don't learn how to dial into that frequency, it can get like you can get paranoid. You can just get like overwhelmed and be like, all right, like you kind of do think that everyone's playing an angle with you.
so for me, it was like I had so much armor on that like I wouldn't even really connect with anybody because it was just like, you know, if you're like, hey, do you know what time it is? It's like, no. You know, like you're
Right.
you're trying to get me look here, so this is gonna happen, and then
Right.
dude, all these bad things are gonna happen.
Is any of
and
that
to a lot of people, dude, bad things do happen.
exactly
when you do that
exactly? Is any of that like a form of like psychosis from alcoholism?
I think it's just, dude, spending a lot of time in the Bronx.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
You know,
Fair.
and listen, I'm not even like born and raised in the Bronx, but,
Right.
you know, ever since like 14, I'm like, dude, I'm always in like the Village. I'm always in Manhattan. I'm always like in
It's the New York
mix.
energy.
Yeah. I remember the first time I went to the Village, my friend Alex, we were like 13, 14, and dude, I got roped into this 3-card Monte game. And dude, it was, you want to talk about like getting butthurt? Like, yeah, I had like $20 and I'm watching these guys play and I'm watching these guys win. And somebody's like, yo, come, you do it. You could win too. And one of the players. And
Of course.
I put the money down and I win. And I think, let's pretend I bet like $5 and I win. And he's like, the other guy's like, bet double because you won and now you'll win more.
And you're like, okay.
Yeah, I'm 13, 14. I'm like, yeah,
Of course.
this is awesome.
I'm great at
And,
this.
dude, I bet whatever I had in my pocket, it was like $20. And within 5 seconds, like, dude, they did their shit and you know, my money was gone. And then later on in the day, the two guys playing and the guy who was the dealer, I see them all walking down the street together with the table. So as a kid, I didn't know. They were all in on it together. They
Right,
were
of
all
course.
business partners.
Right.
It's, you know, as an adult, you understand that.
Right.
But when you're 13, you think the guy next to you playing is nothing to do with the dealer.
Right. Total, you got caught up in that.
But it was a great learning lesson.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Took you a few years to learn it,
Quite
to
a while.
realize it.
Took quite a
Yeah.
while to figure that out.
So you go to the first AA meeting. All the people are coming up to you.
Everybody's really
Your senses are tingling.
everybody's like really nice and really friendly and really wants to know a lot of questions. And I come from a place where you don't share any information.
When you were a kid, was your family like very open, talking about your emotions and stuff like that, or was just like
Not really. Like,
Yeah.
dude, dude, you deal. Like,
Yeah.
you don't share.
yeah,
You don't share what's going on. Like, you don't have a choice.
yeah,
There's no like, hey, what do you think we should have for dinner tonight?
Yeah.
Like, what do you feel like? Like, bro, this is what we're eating. If you don't like it, don't eat. There's no like, hey, oh, I don't like this. Can I have cereal? Like, no. Like, and I think that's great. I think that's great.
Which
for
one
kids.
is?
That, dude, the mom and the dad, they cook and they make what's for dinner.
it's
If you don't like it, then don't eat.
Yeah, I listen. I get it, and I understand that mentality, and I subscribe to that. But then as a parent, there's also this other element where you're like, I love my kid. I just want them to eat whatever they want. And, listen, if my kid wanted ice cream for dinner, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to have ice cream for dinner. Yeah. But if there's, something that they have, like even like today, I was like, what do you guys want for dinner tonight? Like, almost throwing it on them because it's like, tell me what you guys will eat in a sense, right? Because let's just make that because I'll eat pretty much anything.
Easy.
Yeah. But I do understand this idea of
if the kid only wants to eat chicken fingers,
right,
and all the kid does is eat chicken fingers, and he never eats vegetables, he never eats bread, and he never eats cheese, and he never eats beef. Like, you're doing the kid a disservice.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, can you pick? Can you be a part of the choices? Sure, but can you call the shots and be like, I want to eat donuts for dinner every night? Like,
you do have some of those parents out there. They're like, I'll just give my kid whatever he wants. Like, and again, if that works for you, God bless, go for it. But there's a balance in that, right? Because you definitely want your kids to eat and create a household that's harmonious and they could share and all these wonderful things. But then there does come a point where it's like, all right, enough of this shit, right? Like it's such a and we saw that like. Post-COVID, there was a lot of that snowplow parenting and now there's my wife talks about it all the time. It's like fuck around and find out parenting, like back to this old school mentality because you are seeing kids in schools that are just like these entitled shits, right? And that becomes, how do you function in society if you think everything's entitled to you?
How do you fix that?
Yeah.
How do you fix a kid who every time he asks for something, he gets exactly what he asked for? Like, you're going to grow up and be a fucking disaster.
Right.
Like, how are you going to deal with setbacks? How are you going to deal with the real world?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Where, things don't always go your way.
Right.
It's no good.
Yeah, no.
But I will see this about the food, right? If you make chicken for dinner and the kid doesn't want to eat chicken, and you tell the kid, don't eat, and the next day you make chicken and the kid doesn't eat, eventually that kid will eat the fucking chicken. But as a parent, it's the waiting game.
Yeah, well, that's the hard part.
First of all, like you see your kid like discomfort, it's hard to
of course.
Give in and not break.
Yeah, the kids are fucking resilient, man.
But you'll make a stronger kid who will eat many things if you can wait it out. If you can wait it out.
It is a waiting game. It's a tough one. So you're at the first AA meeting. Everyone's like an alien to you right now. Your spider senses are tingling. They're all kind, and this is all new for you.
Yeah, I'm kind of freaked out. I'm in contact with a bunch of guys from my rehab that somebody decided to start a text group, and that was like the greatest thing ever because we continued the tradition on this text group to every day post a goal for the day and something you're
that's beautiful.
So it's like 12, 15 guys, and they're all posting this stuff in the morning, and it's kind of amping you up, and you want to be a part of it, and you're writing yours, and it's very encouraging. And on it, everybody's kind of giving like some things, like, hey, I started AA, it fucking sucks. I feel really sad today, whatever it is, right? And
and this is all men.
Yeah. And we're all leaning on each other in this text group of all these alcoholics and drug addicts. So
what a beautiful thing.
It was amazing.
What a beautiful thing.
Yeah. It was extremely rare. Like, I don't think something like that happens all the time. I don't think many people from rehab do that.
Yeah.
I don't know whose idea it was. I think it was my friend Paul's. And it was the right time, the right people, the right place. And we actually even started our own like Zoom meetings.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a blessing.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Welcome to Agora Social Club, the Westchester's hub for guys to gather, connect, and unwind. In the last 6 years, I've been facilitating a men's group called the Council of Dudes. And within that 6 years, I've realized that guys need a place where they can get together, connect, and build community. A place that's not the gym, that's not jujitsu, that's not the bar, but a place where guys can come with no ego and grow and develop together. So here we have our chess table. We're gonna be having monthly chess lessons and our take a book, leave a book library. Some of these I've read, some of these I haven't. Quantum physics to personal development to fiction. We also have our record player area. In the last few years, I've become very obsessed with jazz music, and if you don't know how to play vinyl, no big deal. It hooks up to your phone via Bluetooth. We have artwork from California to local artists. We have these small little work tables, so if you want to hang on the couch and get some work done, you can just come pop them open. And we also have our little workspace here with quotes from Muhammad Ali, Albert Einstein, Theodore Roosevelt. We also have our coffee bar, small fridge, and more quotes and artwork over the wall. Head on over to agorasocialclub.com, sign up for our free 7-day trial, and with that, you will get a key fob. Scan your key fob, and you have access to this space from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week. So if you're a guy in the Westchester area and you're looking to gather, connect, and unwind with like-minded men, head on over to agorasocialclub.com.
So I lean on to them. I'm in the technical. I'm like, listen, I went to this AA meeting last night. These guys are fucking weird, bro. What's up with this?
Yeah.
And somebody wrote, like, listen, it seems like that, but they really just care about people getting better.
Isn't that crazy how, and you could take that from any version of betterment, right? Whether it be church, Christian church, Catholic church, AA, anything that propels you to become a better version of yourself. When you first step into that area, you're automatically like, these people are weird, fuck these people, like that's not about it. But some of them, I'm not saying all of them, but some of them, they're just clear, right? Like they have a clarity amongst them, right? They're clear, and all they want for you to do is feel that clarity. And what an amazing thing to want for somebody else is like peace, right? Like I just want you to feel the peace that I feel within my life, whether it be sobriety, Jesus, whatever it is, whatever that version of it is. It's just someone saying, I feel this way, I feel good, working out, sensory deprivation, I feel good. This has brought me peace in my life. You should try it. But we have this reluctancy and automatically add this lens of skepticism to it and be like, nah, I don't know about this. But they just feel good and they want to share how good they feel.
I'll tell you what I think it is. What I think it is coming from a place of such self-centeredness. You cannot understand people not being self-centered as well. So that's all you know, right? Is all you care about is me, me, me. You care about yourself. Everything you do is for yourself. Everything you do is for yourself. Everything's for yourself. And now somebody's doing something for you that's not about themselves, and they want nothing in return. Your brain can't comprehend it. So
short circuiting.
So you're like, okay, like they're doing this because they want something.
Do you think it helps or hurts that they're a stranger?
I never thought about that. I think it helps.
Yeah.
Because you would, I think if they weren't strangers and you had a relationship with them, you would kind of throw it off.
Because I say
give it a chance because you don't know their whole deal.
Yeah. I say that because a lot of times, I mean, you know, whether it be in entrepreneurship or, you know, just pursuing a life of more fulfillment, you know, you even in the men's group, right? Like you've been to a couple of Council Dudes meetings, you know, a lot of these people are meeting for the first time to some capacity. Some are, you know, members, or some of them come to a few different groups and they've grown to know each other. But in the initial stage of it, they're all strangers, and there is more of an openness, right? There's a more open energy to share with someone that you just met versus someone you know in your own personal life. So I'm just curious in that setting, through the lens of recovery, if it helps that, you know, you have these people to rely on, but they're all kind of new to you, or would it be more advantageous to, you know, rely on a family member or a mom or a dad or a sibling and say, you know, this is what I'm going through, because they might add too much emotional cushion to it.
I think most people's initial thought would be, I don't want to do this with a stranger. But the secondary thought is, I prefer to do it with a stranger.
Yeah.
So it's that initial jump that nobody wants, that first leap that nobody wants to really do. But once you do, it's better to have no type of relationship with from the past.
Yeah. So when do you start liking, or when do you start leaning into AA and it being like, oh, this isn't so bad?
So one of my rehab buddies is like, dude, just give it a chance. You know what I mean? You got to go at least 3 times. Like, you got everything in life, you got to do it at least 3 times.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Right? How quickly we just dismiss
Yeah,
everything
I'm like,
because
all right.
you're not, you don't like it the first time,
Like,
for
all
sure.
right, I'll go back. So like the second time was like okay, but then the third time, like they kind of start talking about this.
Do they have
whole-
themes of AAs? Like, hey, tonight we're talking about
Yeah.
X.
So there's different types of meetings for different types of groups or different type days of the week.
Right.
So you have a beginner meeting where they kind of talk about it. Beginner stuff. They have step meetings where they talk about one of the 12 steps. They have guest speaker meetings where there'll be a guest come in, and it might be a guest speaker on a beginner meeting or a guest speaker on a step meeting. You have meditation meetings. You have a whole group coming as a guest where there's like 3 people in the group will talk for a while. There's a lot of, there's probably other types of meetings I've never even been to. Some meetings are candlelight. There's all different types. So every time, and then there's also traditions meeting where they talk about the traditions of AA.
Like the background.
Kind of, yeah.
Like the
Kind of like
history.
how we operate.
Yeah. So you go to the third meeting, and what changes? What shifts?
They start talking about this higher power, and something they start talking about is how you're not in control. Like you're not in charge. Like you can't basically they're like, have you tried to like make your life like manageable? And everybody's pretty much like, yeah. And you're like, well, how did that work out in the past? Like, it didn't. You know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe, trying to run the show myself, maybe stay sober for 2 days, maybe stay sober for 2 weeks, but it's not a lifestyle.
Right. Right.
And they're like, well, if, that's true, then the opposite, must be true. So
Right.
if you can't do it, but you're sober now, somebody else is doing that for you, and that's your higher power, or whatever that may be to you. But you're not in charge. And they kind of started talking about like stop trying to run the show, stop trying to hold the wheel, and like let God like guide you and tell you what to do. And that took a lot of pressure off of me. I really like vibe with that, like oh, this is like a lot easier instead of like
Sure.
trying to like control everything in the world. Like
What were you trying to control?
everything.
Like, give me an example.
How the day went.
But isn't there something to trying to control? Can't you set yourself up in a way to seemingly have a better day than not? Isn't that still a form of control? If you're like, hey, I have these routines or these steps of these things that I implement on the day-to-day. These are the things I do. This makes my day better.
Definitely, 100%.
Right? Like, that is a form of control.
Yeah.
A healthy one, but one nonetheless.
But when things don't go the way you expected them to, I don't freak out like I used to. You know? Like it's not the end of the world,
Right.
And then I start to think about, well, maybe this is happening for a reason.
Right.
Maybe there's something for me to learn from this, and maybe that's why. So everything becomes much more manageable and easy.
Is it giving meaning to your life? Is it just is it adding a lens of purpose and meaning?
So
Because
it's
I mean, you
crazy.
could put that into anything.
It's crazy you say that because like one of the phrases I've heard in AA is like when you learn this lifestyle and these 12 steps, you're getting a new set of eyeglasses on life. So like everything you see is different.
Yeah.
I
got chills.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really dope. And if anybody wants to get into self-development, like becoming a better person, like all around, dude, like AA is like nothing can top that.
Yeah.
Nothing can top that. Like I don't know any self-development stuff where you work on defects of character.
Yeah.
Okay? Like nobody works on that. Like they work on like, my
Optimization.
business.
Yeah.
They work on visualization. They work on how you your physical, They work on all this other stuff, but no, I don't know any. Maybe they're out there. I don't
I'm
know
sure
any,
there are.
I
I don't know.
I don't know any programs where they're like, okay, like let's kind of break down like all your defects of character. Like,
Yeah.
are you impatient? Are you intolerant? Are you jealous? Do you have resentment? Are you lustful? All other types of stuff I can't even think of. And then, are we going to work on this? Be aware of it every day and try to clear it out.
Yeah. And then how does it show up in your life, right? Like, and it could show up in so many different facets, right? Like, so many different things can trigger you to think a certain way and send you completely spiraling down a rabbit hole of envy or or lack of gratitude or impatient or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it could be someone at a traffic light. It could be anything and anywhere. And they all it's like whack-a-mole. Like, it's a whack-a-mole of your emotion. And are you going to have the lens and the perspective of like, oh, here's me being selfish again. Oh, here's me being resentful again. It's just expressing itself in this different way. And then how do you, even if you have the awareness of seeing it, how do you not just suppress it, but how do you interface with it? That's rough.
Yeah, so what was really cool for me was just even becoming aware that these things were rearing their head, right? So like, thinking in my head something about somebody at work and being aware of it now, being like, oh wow, like I'm being resentful.
Yeah.
Like in the past, I would just be like, oh, like yeah, I'm right. Yeah.
Fuck that dude.
No, they fucking deserve it.
Right.
Yeah. Fuck them. I hope they die. Like, yo, like wild shit. Like, yo, go easy. Like, dude, it's just a fucking like card game. Like,
right.
You don't have to wish death upon somebody because they won and you lost.
Right.
You know?
That's the 13-year-old self that's very upset about the 3-card Monte.
Yeah.
He's poking his head up and like, fuck these guys.
But I mean, one of the things you do in AA is you clear up like all your resentments from the past, right? And it takes a while. You clear up all your resentments from the past.
And when you say clear that up, are you coming to peace with them? Is that what you mean by clearing up?
It's a mixture of you're writing it down in a way where you kind of don't really know you are, and your sponsor kind of goes over this with you and kind of shows you what like you might be missing.
Can you give me an example?
So like there's different ways to do it. It's called the I get them mixed up. It's the fourth or fifth step, but one of them is you write down like everybody like you have like a problem with,
right?
And it could be an organization. It could be a political group. It could be a corporation, right? It could be your job, right? What are you angry about? And one way to do it.
I'm sorry, but what's the barometer of anger? Is this like they're at a 10 in your life, or they're just ruminating at a 1? It's anything in between. Everything that bothers you about anything in the fucking world.
What irritates you?
Holy shit! Yeah. What a fucking list.
Yeah. What irritates you, right?
Wow.
And like, what are you irritated about, and what like
down to like the smallest thing,
and what like person or organization do you hope like burns to the ground and dies?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's extreme.
So there's one way to do it is you write it down and you write why this person or this organization, like why do you wish this upon them?
Right.
And then you write in a column, well, what's your part in this? And then you have to think.
Well, and that's easy on like a day-to-day humanistic interaction. Like the guy at work, like, well, he's, I have a part in this because, I'm not patient with him or whatever it is. But when you expand it to like organizations or whatever political parties, it's like, where's your tie-in that you are, culpable, right, of this as well? Like you're a part of this in some way.
And a lot of times for me, when I was writing this stuff, I'm like, wow, I'm not this innocent bystander that I really thought I was.
Yeah.
Like I was kind of instigating this stuff to happen anyway, Or maybe when you're writing this stuff, you're like, you know what this person did to me that I thought was this huge, like, immoral act, it's really not that big a deal. I'm kind of making a big deal out of nothing, you know?
Yeah.
You know, was I completely, like, innocent, like, in this situation, you know? Like, and you kind of start to realize stuff. But the ones you still have resentment with, your sponsor will help you. Be like, listen, you have to go find this person and in person, face to face, just make amends and just apologize. Don't get into like, oh, I did this because you did this first and all that bullshit. No, it's just very clean. It's like, listen, what I did was out of line. I apologize. I want to make it up to you. What can I do?
And you went through that.
Yeah.
And did you have anybody to like, go fuck yourself?
I didn't. But
I'm sure people do, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you get all types.
Yeah.
You know, you get ones where people are like, what are you talking about?
Wow.
Like, I don't even remember that.
And you're holding on
It's
to
all
it for
good.
fucking 20 years.
Yeah. You get other people that you don't think it was a big deal, and they're like, you don't know how much this means for you to say this. This has bothered me every day for 30 years, and I can't stop thinking about it. And like you don't know how much what you did really hurt me. And
Isn't it so
you
interesting?
have no idea what you're gonna get.
It's so interesting because it's like the ultimate human experiment, right? Of just interpersonal relationships. And you're absolutely right. Like the interesting part is you can walk up to one person that you think it's not a big deal and it annihilated their existence.
Yeah.
And then you could walk up to someone else that you think that you were just the biggest, proprietor of their everything. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like,
Exactly.
and it's all from your lens. It's all from your lens, and not even like the relationship of it. Just like the energetic weight that carries is huge, and that's why I think it's so important to look at those people who are in these programs or wherever you come up against them, and to know that they have this levity and this sense of clarity, whatever their process has been, that lends itself to saying like, I just want to be a better human, and I want to be a better human. Just for the sake of being a better human, but to make other people have better lives in the smallest and in the biggest ways. And that's huge. I mean, that's crazy that you don't think about that. That alternate perspective of, it's like a Quentin Tarantino movie. Like all these different things are happening to you, but then like there's all these butterfly effects of what you're doing.
It's crazy because to do that whole thing is such a growing experience.
Yeah.
Like I don't care who you are, like for anybody. Like you're reaching out to somebody that
Are these out of the blue people?
In most cases, it's people you haven't spoken to in a very long time.
Yeah.
Right? So you're reaching out to them. You're trying to set up a meetup in person. You haven't seen this person in a while. You're exposing yourself.
Right.
And it could be extremely frightening.
Right.
And you do it anyway.
Yeah.
And you don't know the result. You don't know if this person is going to spit in your face and tell you to go fuck yourself, or this person is going to give you a hug. Like, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Or nothing, or
Right.
completely neutral. You have no idea the result. And that's the whole point of it. The whole point of it is to not care about the result. It's just about cleaning your side of the street.
Doing the act.
So it's dude, you're cleaning your side of the street, and how they react is not matter. Right? So like if they're excited and, oh, thank you, this makes me feel so much better, that's not the point. You know what I mean? If that happens, it's great, but that shouldn't discourage you to do more. You know
Or
what I mean?
encourage you to do more.
Or encourage you to do more. Yeah. It's not about the whole, well, it goes back to the whole thing that it's not about you, right? So getting out of that selfish mode, because everybody who's alcoholic.
Yeah, that's got to be a rough waters to navigate, because someone who receives that and is like, thank you so much, like, oh, okay, right, and that's motivating and inflating you, and now, okay, all right, I'm gonna go and do this more.
Yeah.
Feels good, and then all of a sudden you come across
So you get a
someone's
bad
like, go
one.
fuck yourself. You're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, yeah.
So it was advised to me. My sponsor was like, listen, the first one, do one.
Did you pick like a layup?
Do one that's like easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was your first one, if you don't mind me asking?
My first one was my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured it was going to be a parental figure.
Yeah. So that was like an easy, like
But
kind
you know
of
what?
get your feet wet.
But for some people, that might not be an easy one. That might be the hardest one.
Yeah, everybody's different. But whatever it is, the first one, my experience was recommended to be like
Someone you knew that was going to receive you with open arms. And
yeah.
yeah.
Because I think the first one, when you're like, you're not really developed yet as a person, and the first one is like, go fuck yourself. Like
oh, fuck.
Yeah.
This doesn't work.
It could be discouraging to do more.
Yeah. So you go through this, and now you're in the rehab, or you're in the AA program. You're seeing the turnaround, or you're at least giving over to something bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
And that's giving a lot of levity to the everyday.
Yeah, you live a certain way every day now.
Yeah.
It's a different lifestyle. It's not about me.
Right.
It's about what God wants. It's about what can I do for other people? How can I be of service?
And stop.
So when do you start to take these things and not implement them, but become like the person that you see on, talking to you and meeting you, and the guy who does the juice and the journaling and the working out? Obviously, it's a slow evolution.
Yeah.
It's not just hey, this is what I'm doing,
Yeah.
but what are the steps to that process? Because I think that there's so much value in not only just the AA stuff. Obviously, that's a huge takeaway, but like implementing this stuff, and now how do we 10x it, right? Because again, and then especially in the personal development space, it's all optimization, all that stuff. It's like, all right, but let's start with the small, easy things, and those small, easy things compound. And then like, how does that lead you to now starting a business and starting a clothing company? Because again, now you're stepping into more uncomfortable spaces.
So what happened was I started going back to church. I wanted to go to church. And the same thing, right? The first 2 or 3 times, dude, my armor was back on. It was like, yo, some is off with this.
Are you going to Catholic church at this time? Yeah.
So my spidey sense is off, and I'm like, something feels weird. But I followed the rule. I gave it at least 3 times, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, the appreciation thing is awesome, because I had my experience of going back to church was through my daughter and her having to go to religion and receiving the sacraments and stuff like that. And obviously my wife and I had the conversation like, well, we just kind of need to start going back to church, like as the role models for her, right? If we want her to step on this path and we're encouraging her to do so, we should also set the example and set the tone. And there have been like little drips and droves of church, right? You go for Christmas and you go for this, you go for that. And I had these little like nods of like, peace, like a real sense of peace in going to church. And then, I just had one particular experience. I was like, oh, this is a part of, if not the thing that's missing from my life on a weekly basis. And then obviously that evolves to like changing the whole dynamic and relationship that you have with God.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So what I learned in AA was I never knew this before in my life, is there's a difference between spirituality and religion.
Right.
And I never knew that existed, that there was a difference between two and that they were separate.
Right.
And
what's the difference in the AA protocol?
they don't really talk about religion at all. So like, whatever you want to call God is God. There's nothing about church. It's just about connecting with your higher power, however you do it. And I was raised Catholic, so when I kind of mix the two, it's really nice.
Yeah.
It
feels nice.
And then I stumbled across some like self-development stuff.
Yeah.
And I started making every day like a mix of self-development, AA fundamentals, and religion, Catholic religion. And that combo really works for me.
Right.
You know, so like AA doesn't really give a shit about any type of physical activity, any type of clean eating, and that's kind of where and neither does religion, right? So that's kind of where the self-development stuff kind of comes in,
right?
And the self-development stuff doesn't really care about defects of character, you know?
Yeah.
So that's where the AA stuff comes in, and then the specific kind of prayers and traditions and saints and kneeling and standing and the idea of you're getting the communion and now Jesus is in you, like that's where the Catholic Church comes in.
Right.
So the combo of all three have really been like a nice blend for me.
Right. Do you think there are any pillars missing from those? Is there anything else that you could see yourself adding in that you'd say, like, there's one thing that's missing and it's this?
Maybe.
Yeah.
You know, like AA is big on meditation. AA is big on prayer, your way of talking to God.
Sure.
And like meditation and stillness, your way of listening to God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you start to learn there's a difference between those two forms of stillness, it's very powerful. And you know, I started probably, obviously as a kid you start with prayer, but it becomes like you're just reciting the prayers for the words that are on the page.
It's just
there's no
get it over
relationship.
with.
Yeah, there's no relationship with the words. And then I got into meditating, and that was just a different experience, right? Not even pulling from prayer at all, just being like, I just need to be still in my own thoughts, and not realizing that in those moments, as that time frame and long enough timeline, you are developing a relationship with God, and that is God speaking to you. And then all of a sudden the prayer becomes like, oh, this becomes a dialogue. Like there's an actual relationship here that I can dialogue and receive information from my higher power. And in my case, it's God as well. And I can receive that, and I could interface with that in a whole new way versus just like reading words off a page and sitting in stillness. And that in its own right is mind-blowing, right? Forget about everything else that religion comes with and spirituality. Because same thing, like if you would have rewound time and asked me like, I'd be like, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, right? Like that that's cooler, right? That's more posh. That's like, oh, Buddha and mala beads and all these things that are pop culturally more a fringe, right? But then all of a sudden, once you start to dive into religion, you start to lean into it, and for me, it filled up a lot of my empty cup. It was like, oh, this is still kind of, it's the same thing, right? It's the same, you know, I forgot who was, I was listening to an interview one time, and the interviewer was talking about how he went to someone's house and they had a picture of Jesus. And he's like, what are you, like a Jesus guy? He's like, yeah, a guy who like went around the world and like spread goodness. Yeah, I'm all about that dude. And you like, when you add that lens to it, it was like, yeah, it's like a seemingly a radical dude who was talking about like the love of God, right? And showed up in a way. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty much about that. Like that works for me.
So check this out, right? When you're spiritual, it's on your terms. Okay? So if you're spiritual, there's no rules. Like, you want to pray 15 times a day, pray 15 times a day. You want to meditate once a year, meditate once a year. You want to, whatever. There's nothing to celebrate. There's nothing you have to go to. There's no rules. So it takes you off the hook. And you run the show the way you think it is. Whereas when you're part of a religion, any religion, there's things you have to do.
Wow.
So being just spiritual is in a way, it's great. It's better than nothing.
Sure.
But if you're being just spiritual, it's a little selfish.
Yeah, I think it being religious narrows it down to a thing.
Now you got to do things you don't want to do.
Right.
Like I really admire the past couple of years. I've been kind of intrigued and trying to learn what I can about like the Christian Orthodox.
Right.
And it's like, dude, these guys are so much more hardcore than like Catholics. Like,
right.
Like for Easter, we're what? Friday you only eat fish, or if you're old school Friday you don't eat.
Right.
Dude, these guys are not eating for like 3 weeks.
Right.
Like 3 times a year.
Right.
You know? Their mass is like an hour and a half, and it's all in Latin. And it's like 90% of it is like standing, and like, you know, there's some real like sacrifice going on. You know.
Yeah. That's interesting.
And it's not always what you want. It's not always what you want, you know?
Right. Yeah. It's funny because spirituality is, you know, it's like I would refer to God as like the universe, right? Like it was like, oh, the universe.
Yeah.
The universe wants this, and the universe wants that. And it's the universe or force or the, you know, or energy or any of these, you know, these pop cultural terms. They're all still, God encompasses all of them. Like God is the universe still puts a restriction on the capacity of it, right? It's like trying to think of like infinity or trying to think of like space. It's like your brain. I think that's kind of like, for me, that was part of the hard dynamic with God, is that it's like, how do I try to comprehend this, right? And I was actually talking to Andy, who does the Bible think tank here, and he runs Trinity Church and Christian Church, and I've been to it. It's amazing. He offers such a beautiful community there. I still go to Catholic church, right? Like for me, it's like it just works. But for someone who tries to, I'm very thinky, and I said this to him on the phone. Actually, I was talking to him. I was like, I try to intellectualize God, and that where it's like, you can't. And it goes back to that point of like, you have to give things away and know that you're not in control. And, you know, a part of that was, you know, this coincidences, the serendipities, right? I now call them micro miracles. If those micro miracles can happen for me, I'll give you an example. Last week, we spent the day at Westchester Soccer Club, right? The entire day. We're filming, we're there, we're at a practice. Amazing. I leave here. We wrapped up here. I was like, I'm going to go to church around the corner. Just give thanks to God. Like I'm just going to give a thank you. Just what an amazing day. All the amazing things that I sometimes, most of the time, take for granted. I'm just going to go say thank you, sit quietly. I'm walking up to the church, and on the church steps is a soccer ball and cleats.
Trippy.
No people around, no kids playing, male adult cleats and a soccer ball. And I stopped myself as, you can't make this up. Like, you can't make that up. That I spent an entire day with a soccer team, football team, and now I'm walking into a church to thank God, and that's sitting in the corner of the steps. That's amazing. If that's not God communicating to you, I don't know what else is. I don't know what else is. And it's in those things that you have to allow yourself to believe in that. Like, you have to allow yourself to look at that. I could have rationalized it.
Yeah,
there's a school next door. Some guy was playing soccer with his kid. He put it down. He forgot about it. Okay, yeah, I could rationalize that all day. And maybe that's true. I don't know. But I also do know that walking up and seeing that soccer ball and those cleats, something inside of me felt different. Right. And leaning into it being a micro miracle feels better than me trying to rationalize that it's some guy who left his cleats in a ball. That doesn't even feel authentic to me. That feels more like I'm trying to convince myself that it's something else versus what it actually is.
I think you got to leave like science and logic out of things like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, let go and let God, and not be like, oh, well, science shows this, or, you know, the data is like, bro, like, this is other stuff that, like, we don't understand. And, like, the better you are, like, I'm not going to try to understand this, but I can feel it.
Right.
Like, the better you are.
Did you have that in stepping out of alcoholism and stepping into recovery? Was it that same kind of, obviously it was a journey of that, but did you have that same kind of feeling of like, this feels better than that does, although that's more comforting? Because there's comfort in saying like, oh, it's just some dude who left a ball in his cleats here, and that's okay because it's known and I could touch the soccer ball, and that seems more like rooted in reality versus me being like, oh, it's God showing me that I'm on the right path. Right. So in stepping into sobriety, there's this removal of the comfort and the known and the tangible of alcohol and alcoholism and having a drink and the fine bourbon versus stepping into the unknown of like, I have to let go of that. Like, was that same kind of dynamic?
there was kind of this journey of like quick temporary fixes getting replaced by like slow, longer, more gratifying fixes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like all I know is like when I was at rehab, like I was very confused with like God and all types of things and you know how things worked and trying to kind of figure out, okay, like how does it exactly work? You know, like kind of like it was math. And
Yeah.
like all I know is like there was days there where I didn't pray and there was days there where I did pray. And the days I prayed, they were better days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't explain it. I can't like put science back on. I can't say, well, when you said the prayer, you know, it did this to your mind and it released this. Like, dude, who cares? Like, it worked.
Yeah.
You know?
I get a lot. Well, I've had a few people, more than a handful, who have said when we did the podcast, like, is he Italian? Is he? What is he? Because of the Malocchio thing, right?
Yeah.
So where does that come from? How did that come into reality?
Well, my mom is half Italian, half Lithuanian. Just wild mix.
That's a crazy
Yeah.
mix.
Yeah, it's wild. And then my dad is half Irish, half Scottish.
Okay, that's
No,
less
Welsh.
of a.
I'm sorry, Welsh.
Okay, that's a crazy mix too. Then, yeah.
But you know, if you're a mutt like me, you
Sure.
can't, if you're anything part Italian, when you're at home, the Italian dominates.
Yeah, yeah.
It just-
I'm a mutt too. I mean,
so you get it.
yeah,
Like,
of course. I'm
dude,
Italian,
all
Russian, Czechoslovakian,
all
right?
the Italian stuff dominates, whether
Yeah.
you want it or not. Like, it just runs the household.
Yeah.
Like everything is based around like the Italian food, the Italian traditions, the Italian phrases, everything. And you know, you're a kid and you hear people like saying all these things and like, you know, it's in like broken Italian. It's not really like, it's like Italian American and it's all chopped up. And there was a period in my life where I was like, oh, you have to say these words proper.
Yeah.
And then there was a point in my life where I'm like, no, like you need to embrace like not being Italian from Italy. You need to embrace like being Italian American.
Right.
And coming with that is like butchering the language and changing it. And
Right.
like, that's like our way. You know?
Right.
Whereas like, you know, I'm used to pasta fazool.
Right.
Like the first time I heard pasta fagioli, I didn't even know what people were talking about. You know, it was like, what? Like, because, you know, I know this butchered like version of Italian words. But, you know, one of the words that you would hear would be like, you'd hear like ladies like at a family event, they'd be like, oh, I got the Malocchio the other week.
Yeah.
I'd be like, what the hell? What is he talking about? And then they're like, oh, who gave it to you? And they'd be like, oh, I think this person. And you'd be like, yeah, like, Dad, what the hell are these people talk? What are these words? What are they talking about? And they're like, oh, Malocchio, it's like evil eye. And, you know, the old traditional old way is the belief that, like, you know, somebody can, like, who has resentment and jealousy, right, kind of give you this curse where you get this, like, crazy headache. And they might give it to you intentionally. Or
I didn't know that involved a crazy headache.
but this is my
Sure,
this is
yeah,
my
yeah.
knowledge
I don't
of
know.
it.
Yeah, I
Could be
don't know.
wrong.
Yeah.
Right, and maybe it's something else, but
I'm sure it's 8 different things to 9 different people.
yeah.
Sure.
And then, you know, certain old ladies had certain like things they would do with the oil and kind of to help cure it and stuff like this. But the part that like I kind of took from it was like people wear the evil eye to keep the evil eye away. So
Sure.
like when you see somebody like with an evil eye on them, it doesn't mean like they do the evil eye, you know. It's they're protecting themselves from the evil eye or just evil in general.
Sure.
You know, and that kind of always resonated with me.
Yeah.
So when I was at rehab, a lot of time I'm thinking and I'm like, you know, there's so many dope t-shirts I want to do. I'm like, dude, I'm just going to like make them myself because they don't exist. Like the things I want to get, like I can't go to the store and buy it. So I'm just going to make it.
Yeah.
And it started out with like just kind of make it for myself. And a couple friends were like, oh, it's dope. Can you make me one? And then I did. And then I got the idea, like, listen, if I like this and these other 5 people like this, there's a good chance there's a whole bunch of other people like this.
Yeah.
You know, how many different cultures have some type of version of an evil eye that's protection?
Right.
A gazillion.
Right.
You know?
Probably all of them. They all have a version of
met,
it.
you know, people in I met people from Israel. I met people from Peru. I met people in Greece is huge.
Of course,
you know?
yeah.
And it's like everybody kind of resonates with that.
Sure.
So that became like the primary thing.
Yeah. Did you have a moment in doing it where it just felt like it was like part of you, like this alignment of like, yeah, because now it's like the brand is synonymous with you, right? Like they those two things go together. Like whether you're aware of it or not, it's like those two things are synonymous with each other. Did it feel like an extension of just who you are and your culture and how you were raised, or was it kind of just like, did you have like an epiphany moment, like that's it?
Yeah, there was a moment. I was trying to come up with a name, and I'm like, what is it? What is it going to be? What is it going to be? And I'm like, what's like distinct that if you're in the loop, like you know this word, you know?
Yeah.
Like what's special? What's kind of secretive? It's kind of like a club where it's not so well known.
Right.
And I was like, oh shit, Malocchio, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Done.
Isn't that great when that happens?
Yeah.
That is a wild, great feeling.
But I was going through all different types of names and stuff, and I'm sure when you picked Agora, right? It was like there was this probably period where you went through all these like very boring generic names.
I had no idea what to call it.
Like,
I just knew I wanted it to be a thing, and then
like, oh, let's call it Vinny's Place. Like,
yes, that was the first one I thought.
Vinny's Place.
Vinny's Place. And then I just thought to myself, where did the philosophers meet in ancient Greece? And I Googled it, and it came up Agora. Yeah. And in that moment, same thing. I was like, oh, there's no question. There's no question
Done.
What else it would be called. That is it.
And what a great name for a place, man.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, what else out there exists, like Agora?
There's a million of them.
Yeah.
There's a million things. There's an Agora nightclub. There's an Agora. I mean, people have sent me shops all over the world, and it's just like Agora, airports, Agora, like, right, makeup place, like Agora is, you know, it's not a uncommon word to use for a gathering space. But I didn't realize how, again, obviously until you're doing it, you don't realize how much of it's, of course. And I was like, all right, well, I'm sticking with it. So
you just do it anyway.
Yeah, fuck it.
I agree.
That's it. Just got to keep on going.
Yeah, I found a place called Malocchio Pizza.
Yeah, like
in Naples, which is dope.
Yeah,
like, yeah,
right. Exactly. Keep it alive, dude. Again, going back to the first time I met you at that networking event to where we are now and the dynamic that we have. You show up so you, right? Like, again, synonymous with the brand, but just who you are as a person. I think so much of that is your journey and what you've been through, and you're so you know, going back to the AA thing. You do the same thing for people. Like you showing up to the men's group, you showing up to events. You are such a proponent of supporting people and being an advocate for people and showing up for events and showing up for things and contributing, right? Like when you come to the men's group, like your contribution to that space and everybody's contribution to that space lends itself to more people being better and showing up and offering a different perspective and a lens. And I think that your story and just the short span of time we've known each other is such like, you know, it's everybody's story, right? But it's like your lens on it. And I think having that real deep dive into AA and, you know, the transformation to spirituality and God and religion can help somebody, right? Like, and I just thank you for being you. Thank you for showing up the way you do. Thank you for all your support with everything I'm doing here. And it means a lot to me. And I know it means to everyone that you speak to and everyone you connect with. I know it means a lot to them as well. So I appreciate all your support and everything you're doing. And thanks, man. I had a great time doing this.
Dude, it was a blast, man.
Yeah.
Love it.
I love having you. Where can people get some gear? Where can they follow you? Where can they find out more?
Dude, you can definitely buy t-shirts, hats, all other types of merch at Malochhiolifestyle.com. You can find me on Instagram. Just look up Malochhio Lifestyle. That's it, man.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I love your routine, man. Like you have your juice, you have and you're putting it out there. And again, that, you know, jokingly, I always post like my yogurt, fuel, and all this stuff, but you don't realize, I jokingly say like I'm not an influencer, but I'm influential, right? Like that's the thing. Like you don't know who that affects.
Yeah, here's the deal, right? Like people may not be like talking to you about it, but they're watching you.
Yeah.
Right? And you can influence people in a good way or a bad way.
Sure.
Right? And you may never know.
Right.
Most people aren't going to tell you, hey, it's because you post that yogurt picture that I started eating yogurt. Like most people are not going to tell you.
Right,
you know
right.
I mean, it's just the way people are.
Sure.
But like you can be influencing people in a good way or a negative way without ever and never know.
Right. Right. And you're doing the same thing, man. You're doing the same thing by posting like your routine of what you're grateful for and just your gym routine and stuff like that. Again, it lends itself to other people, especially coming from a world of like sobriety and having addiction issues and going through the rehab. It encourages other people to take that next step and that first step to a completely different life. So I appreciate you, man. And thanks for doing this, man. It was great.
My pleasure. Thank you, Vinny.
Absolutely.